Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. After a little bit of a longer break and a fun series, a fun show match series in between, we're finally back to where it all comes down to who is going to become the new champion team of China and who goes to BlizzCon as China's first seed and second seed. We're about to find out right now, Tetcher, and do you have any initial thoughts, any initial predictions maybe as to how that series might go?
Sorry, I was just alarmed. Let's have a walk
bring
on
the teams
first.
in, bring them in, ladies and gentlemen.
The teams come in, running in from first seed. A dominant performance in the early half of the early and late half parts of the phase. BTG, the team on your left-hand side, and the team that just won their ticket to BlizzCon. It is TheOne on the right. These two teams came into the league at the same time. TheOne, they found themselves in last phase finals as well, where they lost to a super perfect team. Beyond the game, this is their first time here, but they are looking now to defend their first seed heading into BlizzCon.
This is certainly the grandest moment for Beyond the Game. They have always been a promising looking team, but they have never performed this admirably well. And with that new member in their ranks, Loktar, they are looking stronger than ever before. It really seems to be, the one gap they had to close, that one hole they had to stiff in, so they would finally become that beautiful, magnificent team that has looked so indomitable for the most part. Not unbeatable though, Tetcher. They have shown signs of weakness as well.
That they have, and it seems I had a little lag, so do we want to have a quick resync before we dive deeper into that?
Abso-freaking-lutely. I'm sitting at, no joke by the way, 666. There we go.
Okay, give me a second to try and get to you. Oh, that might be pretty close. 6-7-1, close enough. That
Wonderful.
will do. But yes, beyond the game, they certainly had a little bit of trouble during the middle stages of the tournament, where they lost maps to Team Nut, lost series to RPG, something that TheOne don't have to put to their own name either, although TheOne did also lose series elsewhere, where BTG were able to take series against teams like SPT and stuff like that.
And this is the second attempt for TheOne to become champions of China. They failed last time. They had to bow down to SPT. They've already redeemed themselves in that matter because they were the ones now shooting SPT down to the non-BlizzCon spots here. Yeah. Third place goes to them. So can they make it happen this time, or are they once again going to falter? And is Beyond the Game causing a big upset with becoming China champions for the very first time?
We will be finding out. Having a look at the last couple games these teams played, we just saw TheOne taking down SBT in a 3-2. An incredibly close and very entertaining series. BTG, the last match they played, we probably don't have to include, considering it involved an Abathur, Tyrael, Samuro, Medivh, Chen comp, which ended up losing to Team Nut's Illidan Sylvanas composition. But the last serious game that BTG played was on Tuesday last week, where they played against SPT and took a very solid 2-0 against them.
Very true. I mean, that game against Team Nut didn't really matter. Team Nut had no chances of advancing anymore, and BTG had no chances of falling down even more. So they just had a little bit of fun here and there. It was all fine and dandy. But today, there's no space left for jokes. Although both teams are definitely going to BlizzCon, once again, we cannot stress enough how important it is to have good seeding. So you maybe dodge the Genjis, you dodge the Team Dignitas of the other region, regions, and those are certainly some opponents you really do not want to face if your plan is to make it out of groups on BlizzCon.
Exactly. You've got to try and avoid the tough opponents. And you're going to get some tough opponents no matter what. You're going to get a Genji or a Dignitas or something like that. It's still going to be pretty scary. But, like you said, you have a better chance of making it out the groups. And a China team hasn't made it out of the groups in a tournament for quite a while now. I don't actually think we made it out last BlizzCon either. I will double check that.
No, I'm pretty sure we did not. Because the miracle run of E-Star was last mid-season brawl. It wasn't actually 2017 mid-season brawl, but it was 2016 mid-season brawl. And I think after E-Star disbanded, it all went downhill for China as a region with, the standard bearers, the flagship team no longer existing. So I think it's safe to say that since BlizzCon 2017, we haven't had a China team make it far in the tournament, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm attempting to find out
Yeah.
now, whether that has, in fact, happened before. 2017 is what we're looking at now. And bracket stage, no China team. It was all Americans, Europeans, and Koreans.
Yep. So yeah,
There's
I mean,
BTG.
and we are aware of the fact, like, we're not delusional, right? We're not trying to hype you in cheeky and mischievous ways. We know, or everyone knows, that China is not in their prime, but still, there is potential, and I refuse to give up on those teams. I still believe that maybe this year at BlizzCon, it will be time for either TheOne or BTG to advance to the next phase, make it out of groups. That is already more than we can ask for when we look at this current China region.
So I'm looking back in time. If we discount mid-season brawls, where we obviously know about the E-Star rise that they were able to do,
True.
By the looks of it, the last time a Chinese team made it out of group stage and actually into the bracket stage is never. It's never happened. I've just checked and it has literally never happened.
Okay. Even not in the Easter Squadron?
Nope, they were knocked out in group stage in the 2016 tournament, is the one you are thinking of. Their group consisted of Fnatic and Please Buff Arthas, and Please Buff Arthas made it out of that group.
Huh, that is interesting. All right. So yeah, China has a lot to prove. Way more to prove than I had anticipated. All right.
Exactly. They need to get there's always got to be a first. But literally, Mid-Season Brawl was the last time a Chinese team made it out of group stages at an international tournament.
All right, Dancing and Hugo, the two star players, the two players that certainly have most weight on their shoulders right now. Huge responsibility for both of those guys. Hugo, of course, playing a slightly different role, which is why he doesn't really have that much of a KDA boost to offer. But also, I think it's safe to say that Beyond the Game throughout this entire phase, throughout this entire 2018 phase, has shown least amounts of weaknesses and has not really given away most kills.
Very much so. They've been limited to a very small amount of strategies, but those strategies have been incredibly solid. They have put a huge amount of preference, of course, because it's really good, onto Locktar's Yrel. That is basically their go-to hero as often as they can, due to the fact that, like we said, he's not that experienced in this role, and they were still, with a role-swapped player, able to make first seed.
And that is going to be the big question, right? We know that Locktar on the side of BTG is a fabulous Yrel player. In fact, that is by far his most successful and most played hero. On the opposite side, we see Hugo, and we mentioned his weakness in terms of Yrel play. Either he doesn't like the hero, or he doesn't feel confident playing her. So is BTG going to abuse that weakness, or is TheOne banning out Yrel every single time to make Locktar feel as uncomfortable as humanly possible?
That might be the case here, because, like you said, Hugo is not that comfortable on it. He sort of learned Blaze and never really learned Yrel, which is just super interesting, considering everyone else in the world was like, oh yeah, Yrel's super good, and Hugo's like, give me a Malthael, I'm ready to kill some Yrels. So, the last time and the first time these two teams played against each other, 1-1 was the first time they played against each other. You were already mentioning it. The game that BTG lost was where Locktar was forced onto a Leoric, as opposed to his usual Yrel. The second time, 1-1. Guess what happened? BTG were forced to play a Dahaka, as Yrel was banned out. This seems to be a pretty clear theme between the two teams, but right now the score between them is at 2-2.
Yep. Couldn't be any closer, couldn't be any more exciting, and I mean, TheOne, they need to know that, right? The two times they had a chance against BTG was when they locked away the Yrel, so I think that is going to be a super highly contested pick one way or the other. And TheOne, after banning out a Sky Temple against SPT, funnily enough, they now take us to that very same battleground.
That they do. Sky Temple. Globals, of course, are fantastic here. If they can sneak in an Illidan, this could be where we see it.
Alrighty then, let's check out what these two teams have to offer. Are we going to see anything interesting right at the get-go, or are both teams just trying to test the waters a little bit, you know, see how far they can go with standard compositions? Hanzo banned away from TheOne. Makes a lot of sense. Kashi has played a lot of Hanzo as of late, and we've seen earlier against SBT what this man is up to today. He's on fire. Maybe even the Phoenix would be considered, a worthy ban or a worthy steal against that guy today. We see him on the bottom right.
Quite possibly. We will be seeing very shortly. The Maiev ban makes a lot of sense. We've seen exactly just what Meng can do on this hero, and which is why we will not be surprised to see Genji being banned out, and there it is.
Okay, and there it goes. No surprise. Loktar will have to play a different hero than Izirel. But on the flip side, Tetra, I think you have to expect that. And I'm pretty sure that Loktar has probably done nothing else than play other top laners, other solo laners all week long.
Think so. He must have been practicing. He knows his own weaknesses. He's a smart guy. We're going to start off with Tyrande, though. BTG bringing out the brand new support, prioritizing it over Deckard.
Interestingly so. Certainly a strong hero, but is it truly more important than a Deckard Kayn? I think it all comes down to the style that Beyond the Game wants to play here. Very aggressive style, very lockdown heavy style. Might be the way to go here. Diablo still available. Garrosh still available. Both heroes work with it. In a weird scenario, in a weird world, even Stitches might work, but I just don't like Stitches on Sky Temple too much.
I've apparently been corrected. The last time 2 tournaments in 2016, Spring in Seoul and DreamHack Summer in 2016, eStar and Edward Gaming made it out of groups, which still means that since 2017 mid-season Brawl, China still hasn't made it out of group stages.
True, it's still a long time, still very unsatisfying for most Chinese fans out there.
Yeah. Thank you, Captain Ander, for that one.
Always appreciate the feedback, guys.
But
you know we do.
It's never happened at a BlizzCon.
Mm-hmm. True. BlizzCon is still that big hurdle for them to overcome. Now, Raynor is pretty solid. Raynor is just the jack of all trades right now. Very few weaknesses, great strengths.
And there's the Cassia removed. Would have been fantastic against that Raynor, and also decent auto-attack damage against the Anubarak.
Ooh, and look at that with Cassia gone, Tetcher. That could also be a gentle piece of information that they give over to their opponents if BTG is well aware of it. The Illidan might be an option here. It's not banned yet. It could very well still fit in. Oh, but they say, no, you shall not fool us today, TheOne. We know Hugo well enough. No Illidan.
Well then, down goes the Illidan. That limits us to the Malthael, which I think Hugo will still be very happy with, or maybe a Dahaka if he wants a bit of global potential here.
I mean, it's also safe to say that there could be a Leoric potentially, but Leoric today hasn't really seen much success, mostly due to the fact that Leoric is very predictable in his playstyle, especially in China. Always March of the Black King. Very, very rarely do we see an Entomb, which, according to Tetra, in my opinion, would have saved many games in China, or could have saved many games in China.
Very much agreed. We are both in agreement. I mean, we could still see it. The Thrall could be a second damage dealer, as we have seen.
Maybe the rotations, yeah.
Diablo somehow snuck through to this point and gets put in with a Li Ming.
Crazy, and Li Ming also counters the Cocoon so well of that Anubarak. I think right now, Beyond the Game is in full control of that draft. Like, from start to finish, they have such a solid roster. Phoenix, I mean, not only is it taken away from Keshi, but also, it's probably going to be played by Dancing here. Super, super strong hero. And then Li Ming counters the Anubarak. We have a Tyrande Diablo combination. So to stop this CC machine, this onslaught, they're trying to get a little bit of disengage done with that Junkrat. Has worked before. Can it work again?
We will find out here as this phase, this particular composition of TheOne has yet to lose with Anubarak. They are 5-0 with it. So bring it out right now. I mean, this is excluding today's games. I can't remember if they lost already against SBT with it, but that is still cool to see. But if we look on the other side, the Diablo of Beyond the Game is also pretty strong. I've lost it. I had it a second ago when I was going through the stats. Hang on, alphabetical order. Let's not be about it. I mean, their Diablo is only 50%. I thought that was a lot higher.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I think right now this game could probably also be described as the duel of the two most solid-looking warrior players in China we've had all phase long. Whereas Huhu is more of a spectacular playmaking warrior oftentimes. Not always to his greatest success, by the way. Sometimes backfires pretty heavily. I think 619 is the most reliable and most stable warrior. Great hero pool, strong results all phase long, and he makes very little mistakes.
Yeah, 619, in fact, sharing with Huhu that 100% win rate on a Nubarak. Both teams with that. So these teams very happy to run the bug. But like we said, that Diablo, I'm really quite shocked that they haven't played it. Looking through the stats, Muradin has been BTG's just go-to choice for 619 for very good reason this entire phase.
But then again, you didn't really have Tyrande online for the normal phase, right? And maybe with that new rework on the hero, they just consider Diablo to be the strongest powerhouse. Keep in mind that on Sky Temple, of course, there's also many walls to slam enemies into, a couple of choke points, which makes for great lightning breaths, if we're going to see that heroic ability, of course. So yeah, both teams gearing up, getting ready to show us their A-game Tetcher. Boy, oh boy, am I excited for this series.
As am I. It should be good. Locktar, he's on his second highest win rate solo laner, so it's not the worst thing, although once again comparing it to Yarel, 91% win rate, whereas his Blades is a 71, so 20% less. But is it still going to be enough for TheOne to take them down? Is that Blaze potentially too much of a detriment, or will this team on the left take the first seed? It is BTG with 619, LLK, Druid, Dancing, and Locktar.
Facing them is TheOne, featuring Hugo, Keshi, Meng, ZJZ, and Huhu. Both teams are not only fighting for that first seat in BlizzCon or at BlizzCon, but also to become the new champion of China, a title that has up to this point always fallen to either SPT or CE. Those were the old guard, the old elite. Here are the new teams, the new kids on the block. Strong focus fire onto the Beetle, and BTG are coming into this series with a strong statement, Tetcher.
I mean, I'm sorry. I thought a Nubarak was supposed to be tanky. No, he's very reliant on his shields and heavy crowd control. He is a warrior. And as such, 619 able to smash him into a wall and pick up first blood in less than 30 seconds.
Quite the smashing display, if you don't mind me say that. Pretty good stuff coming in for BTG, but of course it's first blood, and first blood, although it looks cool, although it's great to have it, it's not really going to make that much of a difference, although it basically shows Huhu that he can't get away with everything here. Those combos, those synergy moments here between Diablo and Tyrande already looking mighty good. Look at the rotation speed, actually faster for Beyond the Game. You can now set up a mercenary camp immediately.
Someone bring up an excellent point. I wonder what the world record for the fastest kill in Heroes of the Storm is.
I don't think you can make it any faster than this on Sky Temple.
I mean, if you run into mid lane, you'd probably get it quicker because it's a shorter distance.
True.
So, maybe. Not sure. Either way, cool. As we just saw, an absolute massacre. For now, the teams have finished Siege Giant camps, and they begin to put pressure onto the lanes. However, Keshi is already doing a pretty good job. Ate a little bit of damage here, so has to burn his stim pack pretty quickly there.
Yeah, never underestimate the damage of early Siege Giants camps, man. If you stand still for too long, you get hit by those rocks, they hurt quite heavily. Impact will be back in time, though, for that next big engage, I think. No Exterminator this time, by the way, Tetcher. We see a normal ace in the hole, and it makes sense with Decker K and Thrall, Nubarak. An abundance of slows is available for him.
Yeah, makes complete sense, completely fine, so cool to see that little adjustment. So now then, LLK, hovering, just continuing to rotate and clear lanes best he can, as that Bruiser camp, taken a little bit slower by TheOne, means it will be here to help defend, and times very well with the minion wave, in fact. But they've already lost a fair amount of structures while waiting for this. A noob gets detonated again!
And this is basically very reminiscent of what happened to SBT there in that one game when they faced that. And Nubarak not in the best shape right now. The Beetle is hurting.
Someone pointing out to me that 100% the fastest kill in an HGC game is very clearly Quack flying into mid lane on Dragonshire and getting pulled in by Dahaka. So yeah, definitely that one. Thanks for reminding me about that. That was a funny one.
That was a good one indeed, yeah. Then also the spectacular feed by Uncle G back in the days when he was with Soa on Braxis, where he just flew past the tower on Sylvanas.
Oh yeah, that wasn't an early, that wasn't a quick one, but it was a funny one. Yeah. Dancing, getting focused down. Hoho went deep for this, and 619 taking a lot of damage, but immediately tries to push Hugo into tower range, but there was a beetle in the way. Quick route onto 619. He's tanking through it, though, thanks to his fire stop.
Yeah, you could really see the beautiful stutter stepping and the beautiful micro control by by Druid on that Tyrande. As long as you keep auto-attacking, you're always going to have those heals ready. Celestial Attunement, of course, super good against Diablo and all the other slows and silences as well. Should, in theory, also work against the Decker Arcane Stay a While and Listen to basically wake someone up with that spell. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I believe it counts as a... Is it counting as a stun, technically?
I think so, yeah. I think it's a stun. It just looks like a silence. Sorry, it just looks like a sleep.
Yeah.
And you wake up after getting damaged, so it should work
out. Taunt is technically a silence, so I know that much. So it works on those. But either way, if we don't have to worry about either of those, there is no Garrosh in this game. The sleep we will find out.
Hey, Garrosh's not the only hero who can taunt, okay? Don't forget about my boy.
Which one?
Just because he doesn't see play right now, Varian, that is, doesn't mean he can taunt.
Oh yeah, he's a hero.
Damn it, Tetra. We need to talk about this after this game is over.
I thought they patched the game, so he was out. Didn't remember.
Oh.
Hugo, nice route. Hugo easily able to escape there.
Beautifully done, and that one actually had to land because if that one had missed, for example, the Wolf Pack would have actually been reset already. So nice move by Diablo. Good idea, but even better played by our good friend Hugo.
And it is, as we see the Siege Giants being focused down by BTG. With 619 here, they'll be able to take it a lot quicker and easier this time.
Here we go. Mercenaries unlocked for both teams. The red ones are currently getting pummeled by Diablo. 619 still, of course, not fully stacked on souls. His health bar is going to continue to grow. Goes for the standard build as well. No timeless flavor. With a couple of those auto attack talents, for example. Still goes for the normal Firestorm build. Makes sense. And Li Ming also standard dominance build with the Calamity.
And the front tower is being taken down here. Little bit of damage. The rest of the Siege Giants are cleaned up before the second one falls. So the one still holding themselves in this. They're a little bit behind in XP, but they are far from out of the game yet. Junkrat continues to send in those grenades for that harassment. He has gone for Bouncy Bouncy, remember. He does not go for put some English on it, so he's much shorter range now.
All right, so we see Shadow Stalk coming through. Still no Starfall value to be seen in China, but we see Disintegrate. And that is a very important one. When you are Li Ming and you face an enemy Anubarak, you want to be able to burst down that cocoon as fast as possible. And what is the fastest hitting animation in the game? I think it's actually Disintegrate. It hits so fast, and every tiny tick is going to tickle that cocoon and brings it down in health. So really good freeing mechanism, which is also sometimes the reason why Anubarak players, they tend to cocoon the Li Ming, right? Because she's the only target that can free herself then.
Although Lightning Breath will certainly do the job as well,
do the job too,
might be able to get the job done.
And maybe the Flames from Blaze, you know, there's still a couple of nice tools available.
And we see with everyone online though, all heroics are now locked in. Are the one going to try and move on to the point? It's even talents. If they wanted to, now would be the time before too many of those shots disappear. It's over halfway done. 619 going to pull back to safety. Dancing teleports for good measure.
Yeah, he realized that there was no way he could fit through that horseshoe, through that choke point. So he played it safe. And at exactly 50% control over that temple, moves on over to the one. Hugo taking a lot of damage. Has to use that Earthquake immediately. Diablo tanking through.
He's taking a lot of damage. He's gonna go down, but the Riptire coming in from the front as well. Dancing was trying to get a good wraparound, but he is actually going to be the second to fall. And the one with a gorgeous fighting angle are able to take a 2 for currently 0, but it's getting close. Finally, down goes the Raider.
LLK almost had a reset there, but he missed that point-blank Arcane Orb. Back is Diablo coming through, coming into the fray here. A great concussion mine by Meng. The stuns are good, and Loktar is still standing somehow.
But down goes the Blaze. They keep fighting Druid. He's on the run. He's trying to stay alive. The Emerald prevented so much of his self-healing there, and he will finally get dropped. Now 619 looking for anything damage onto her, but he tanks through it.
Ladies and gentlemen, TheOne is back in the game. That was an important team fight they've just won. It all started with Diablo being a little bit too ambitious, being a little bit too aggressive there. Blaze actually with that bunker couldn't reach him in time. Look at Blaze, he's getting completely zoned out. He's sleeping now, and without that sleep, I don't think they would have been able to actually, you know, prevent Diablo from dying here, because that bunker could have saved him. Unfortunate.
Yeah, the sleep was really good. He was woken up quickly, but it was a slight delay. A good thrusters getting into range would have set that up. And they did get some counter kills, but overall, TheOne just put themselves back into this game in a big way.
Absolutely true. Also, it's worth mentioning how well Keshi actually managed to stay alive on that Rainer with some beautiful pathing, some good sidestepping there, dodging the Arcane Orb. If that one had fallen sooner, I think that could have been a different team fight, because maybe then LAK would have had enough health and enough freedom to run towards his teammates. But as it is, TheOne equalized the score. Still not a tremendous lead or anything. In fact, they weren't even able to get a fort in the bottom lane. But experience-wise, that was a big win.
Indeed, they keep themselves together. They're able to get BTG, though. They grab a Bruiser Camp. Going to put some more pressure on top lane. The ones will be spawning pretty soon, so they might be able to grab that. You can see Junkrat's already making his way in that general direction.
Okay. So 13 for Phoenix, not locked in yet. Let's see what he's gonna go for.
Guess I got the camp timing wrong. I guess they snuck it away earlier. In the meantime, BTG looking to keep themselves in the lead, or at least get themselves back. They snipe off Keshi. Salvo does huge damage to ZJZ, but his self-shielding potions keep him alive.
All right. By the way, 13 talent here for Phoenix. We highlighted is the Adanium Shell. So he gains 50 armor after using that warp teleport. Additional burst protection. Makes sense. Not too bad.
Yeah. Surviving fights, always welcome, always good. As BTG, they move down to this bottom temple. Blaze on his way up to top temple. Locktar might have to end up dueling Junkrat up there. Owl will spot, but currently no one is on that point, and Blaze will get at least a couple free shots.
Yeah, Blaze could certainly go there already. Locktar could certainly sneak in a couple of shots. By doing so, he will also tell TheOne that they're currently one man up, right? Or one player up. LLK needs to be careful. It dodges the assault from who's very patient. Battle Barbs locked in once again, by the way, for additional slowing and damage.
We are seeing the debilitating owl, the talent I just do not remember the name of, coming in from Tyrande.
Yep.
So finally we're going to see that. It always ends up being something else on that level these days, but finally they adjust.
Yeah, and that level 13L, as you said, is very important. It's the Harsh Moonlight here, by the way. It slows the first target hit and reduces the damage they deal by 40%. And if that one lands on someone like Thrall, for example, that can really cripple his combat efficiency quite a bit. And the extra slow is always nice to have. Allows your team to focus on that one target, especially if that one is under the effect of Hunter's Mark, for example, right? Hunter's Mark on that target, slow it down, can't run away, your team has an easier time to kill it.
And if not, then Hunter's Mark 1, Owl another, and you get a less pressure onto the rest of your team while you kill the original Hunter's Mark target. For now, though, Siege Giants stolen away by BTG. Now they can move on to their own a little bit safer. And they're just trying to steal away tools of TheOne. They are ahead just a little bit, one talent, half a level or so. They're looking good, but it's a little bit of a slower game for them this time.
Isn't it amazing to see how well BTG was able to recover after that disastrous team fight in the bottom? Not only did they come back and experience quite nicely, but also they have they've maintained a pretty tremendous lead in terms of structures. That top fort is still completely untouched almost. Oh, Hugo, man, sitting at 5 stacks in that wolf pack. Don't want to mess up now. Don't want to miss it.
Yeah, just be patient and land your shot. Slowed by the oil, but is able to back up. Keeps it going. Look at him. He's waiting. He's waiting for his opportunity. Instead, just zaps in a little bit of extra damage. He's gone for the percentage damage on his auto attacks instead of the thunderstorm.
Yeah, no thunderstorm. It's actually a common thing we see, you know, pairing those two Feral Spirit towns together, because if you complete Wolfpack, you have a lower cooldown on it, which means you're going to get more value from the Alpha Wolf as well. Whereas Thunderstorm is usually picked to have greater poking, especially against heroes like Cassia that normally sees a lot of play.
Boss still aggroed. BTG, they know, and the one know they know, so that was ambitious. Finally, it just gets fully leashed.
Yeah, you don't want to risk the whole game just by having...
Oh, Wolf missed.
Reset.
Resets indeed. And now Hugo backing up. Quick knockback by Raider onto 619, who is getting knocked back in with the concussion by Noe. He immediately dives back in to get a lot of damage. Here comes the lightning breath. No, he just gets in the bunker, holding the lightning breath.
Yeah, good bunker, but the Riptire coming in from behind. Druid in trouble.
619 staying alive thanks to Travada. Here comes the salvo with the lightning breath, with the slows. Good damage. Hugo trying to stay alive with that resilience, but that is a triple kill for BTG.
That looked very dangerous there. And once again, that timing, that moment of a team fight like that to happen against the one is disastrous. Look at that boss. It's going to get melted down right now. 3 kills to 0. Loktar isn't even needed. They don't even need him to clear that boss. He can take an objective already, maximizing efficiency there as well. And yet again, it is Diablo plus Phoenix. Look at that combo there as well. The one overreacting a little bit. They thought they could maybe melt Diablo, who was playing very reckless there as well. But this time, Loktar had his back. This time, the bunker was good. And now, watch out that lightning breath and the salvo from Phoenix.
Just absolutely shredded like wheat as we see everyone just getting taken out. With that boss now online, everything's coming up the one. Everything's coming up BTG. The one stuck in base, cleaning up the mess they've been left with as BTG grab bruisers. They have Blaze, Loktar already in top lane working on this temple to try and take down the first keep of the game.
All right. Let's see if BTG can actually snowball ahead or walk away with that lead. That top keep should fall. Still enough shots available in that top temple. The boss has already been cleaned up here, if I see that correctly. Yes, it's been dealt with. Middle, though. Oh my goodness, that might be a double keep play here for BTG. That's huge.
That is easily enough, and it's even going to put a bit of damage onto the bottom keep as the boss cleared out all the front structure. No, it didn't clear out the front structures. My bad. So yeah, they're just going to do some damage to the towers, but double keep play with Loktar on that temple.
All right. And that is huge. I mean, beyond the game on Sky Temple right now, the only way they can throw away that game is if they get caught somewhere in a rotation, if they take a sloppy fight against the one who are very good team fighters. But if they play it just regularly, you know, if they wait for the next temple, even if it's just one temple, they can basically win the game just by taking the objective. Sooner or later, one or two people of the one are going to have to go back and defend against the catapult onslaught. So I really hope for them, for Beyond the Game, to not make that mistake. By the same token, though, if the one want to start something, they better move out aggressively. They cannot play the time game.
And here might be a good opportunity. Pretty decent choke point, but into level 20.
Yeah.
They decide against it. They sieged a couple grenades from Junkrat. It's gone for the spread volley, so this kind of choke point would have been nice for him, but it's not worth the risk.
See, and that is the question you need to ask yourselves when you're the one right now. Do we have enough time to actually get 20? Can we make it? Can we survive until then? Or is that next temple going to spawn before 20 gets even close for us? In that case, they would have to fight 18, 19 to 20, because sooner or later, they're just going to lose that game flat out.
Now they will, because right now it looks like they might just be about to lose their bottom and only remaining keep flat out as BTG just put pressure in. Currently, Junkrat's not here. He's busy clearing up top lane. Loktar with some zoning oil, and that's going to be the commitment. Lunar Flare not landing on the target they want, though. And with that, it looks like it's just going to be the keep. Salvo will not be enough to actually clear anyone out. So BTG will just take the keep and pull back.
Yeah, the one went pretty all in, and they had to. They really needed to use as much as they can to defend that keep. They were not successful, unfortunately. The BTG banner reigns supreme. Diablo is not done just yet. The Tyrande combo plus Diablo, too strong for the one to handle. A nice saving intent here by ZJZ with that stay awhile. Listen, lots of damage coming through here now onto the backline. The Riptire might be able to get a double kill here. It gets destroyed before it lands. Oh my goodness.
Nicely done, and with that, see ya Junkrat, see ya the rest of the one. That is a 3, make it 4 for 0, and that is going to be the core going down. Well played, and BTG take game number 1 of the Grand Finals.
Some scrappy team fights there towards the end. Really, you could see how the one was trying to stay in the game at all costs. And although some of the team fights looked a little weird and a little bonkers at times, I think it was still a calculated risk by Beyond the Game. They didn't really choose a single engage without knowing that they would get at least a little something out of it. And the top fort was still standing. All 3 keeps alive. Solid performance by Beyond the Game. And TheOne, man, they start very similar to the previous series. They go into this with a loss.
That they do, and as such, they were able to make a comeback last time. But right now, BTG, that was shaky at points, but overall just significantly better play.
Yeah. And Tetcher, I mean, we haven't really brought up this topic today, but I really want to share this with the viewers. Like we've been saying, for the region of China, the best possible outcome would be a clear 3-0. We don't necessarily want this to happen from a caster's or viewer's point of view because we want to give you guys as many games as possible. But for China to stand good chances at an international tournament, I think one of the teams needs to be dominant. One of the teams really needs to be on a different level than all the others in order to match Korea and Europe as well.
I agree with you. I agree with you in your entirety here, because if BTG can show that they're dominant,
yeah,
it shows that they are better than they were at Eastern Clash. It shows that they are better than the other teams that have already failed at these international events.
True.
And with their new roster, they maybe will be able to compete. And right now, everyone else in the table looks pretty close. And BTG, that was a strong opening. Not as strong as we'd like, but that was pretty strong.
Pretty strong. And, you know, Sky Temple can always have those moments in the early mid-game where you go for a greedy boss call and you regret it. Especially the bottom temple, you know, is really tricky because once you're trapped inside, you can't really get out. So especially in the early mid-game, you sometimes have those wonky moments where you're like, oh, lol, they just threw. What happened to them here? But if you manage to close out a game and come back even after a disastrous team fight like BTG did, well, kudos to you. You just played a good game.
That you did. So now then, with game number 1 down here, BTG showing up and just showing once again, Diablo into a Nubarak is usually a pretty decent matchup, and they just ruined the one's 100% a Nubarak win rate.
Oh boy. Looks like Diablo is pretty scary there, with the exception of that first engagement where he was a little too ambitious, where he was a little too far away from the rest of his team. That 619 Tyrande combo looked absolutely just beautiful.